So I came back to Queens, and I had talked to the head of the center at the time about, I went up and told him how much I liked Sri Chinmoy. It was one of the people I told. And he said to me, so, you'll have to cut your hair. Because I had hair like here and a beard to here. And, and I said, why? He said, well, Sri Chinmoy asked, those people are going to be disciples. Cut their hair. I said, oh, I don't want to be a disciple. He said, no, really? I said, yeah, no, I just really feel, that he's really doing something good, and it's just not for me, and I'm telling other people it might be for them, and everything. I said, oh, that's interesting. And he said, and I said, but the hair thing, if you want to be somebody's disciple, what's a big deal? You cut your hair, And he said, well, a lot of people say that, but when it comes to doing it, it's a thing for them. I said, oh, I don't think it is for me. So a couple of days later, when I was home, I thought, yeah, I wonder if it is a thing for me. I've had this for I don't know how many years, and one time I cut it to a goatee when I was in university, and I said, okay. So I just went to the bathroom, shaved everything off, and went, wow, that's something. Because you looked like so much younger and innocent in a way, but I also felt more vulnerable, because part of that time was to sort of look tough. When you're young and you're trying to do things, political, organizing, and everything else, you wanted to establish that you knew what you were talking about. So you felt the hair and stuff, and it did make you ferocious in a way. People you felt weren't going to mess with you because they didn't know what they were getting, So then I wonder about the hair. So I just took a scissors and went So my friends came home that night, and they're like, what happened to you? I said, I just felt, maybe I'm attached to this. When I heard that they said, Sri Chinmoy asked, he said, you want to be a disciple? I said, no. But I thought maybe I'm attached. Maybe it's holding me back spiritually, And so I thought I'd try it. So the lady who was a friend of my friend said, well, let's fix it up. You look like you got out of an insane asylum. So you just chopped it off. Well, that's what I did, So she was nice. She knew how to do the hair. She made it look, like it was an intentional, just like a regular shorter haircut. Still was a little funny. So anyway, I'd already cut my hair, and then I go to see the person at the time who was, after the center was around, after Guru finished. But the first couple of times I was amazed, because you'd go to get a book, and everybody was gone. Every other place I went, you could, if you got any indication you were interested, there's people all over you. Here's a book, here's a At the Sri Chinmoy stuff, you had to chase them down to try to get something. It was like, because when Guru left, that was it for the disciples. Guru's gone, let's get out of here. So, but I caught Dulal and one of the weeks, and I told him, I went to him again, and I just said, I just want to tell you, I really appreciate what you told me, because he said some things to me about, and he said, I don't remember talking to you. I said, yeah, and I mentioned the conversation. Oh yeah, you were the one with the long hair and the beard, and he said, oh, so you want to be a disciple? I said, no, I don't want to be a disciple. He said, well, what did you cut your hair for? So I told him the whole story. And I said, I just want to see if I was attached, And I'm not, I mean, it's a little vulnerable. I told him the whole story. There was a conversation. He said, this is a pretty strange conversation for me. I said, why? He said, so many people come to me, they want to be disciples, but actually they can't cut their hair or shave their beard. For some reason it's like a big thing for them. And I said, he said, well, you do it and you don't want to be a disciple. So I said, who can figure, So this is before I had that experience on the weekend. So anyway, Tuesday night comes, and I said, okay, all right, and let's see, what do I do? And then I asked somebody, said, oh, speak to Dulal. This is the person, speak to the person's head of who does this, and he meets with people. So I wait online. Other people were having a little conversation. One of the person's bedroom in that house, they made like a little thing where people could go and talk to him after Guru left. So I went in, and he said, oh, I see you again. So you're here? Yeah. I said, yeah, I think I want to be a disciple. I said, oh, interesting. A week later, something happened, So I told him the experiences, what Bill I said, oh. I said, but Sri Chinmoy, I know you cut your hair and shave your beard, but Guru does expect you to shave every day, because from that first time I never shaved again, So I said, oh, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. You sure? I said, yeah. There was no reason to shave again, but now there is, So he said, okay, do you have any questions? I said, I just have one. He said, what? I said, what does it mean to be a disciple? I mean, I know I got to do this thing, but I got this feeling I have no idea what it is. I was afraid of it. I said you wouldn't do it. Now my heart's saying I got to do it. But what does it mean to this? I said, well, you come once, you do this. I said, yeah. I said, yeah, I've told you all that, and you got it. We talked about it. He said, are you fooling with me? He thought I was like putting him on. I said, no, I'm sincere. I feel I have to do this, but I don't know what it means. I feel it's going to jump into something, and I don't know what I need to know. I don't know where it's going. And he said, oh, okay, just stop. Write the page to Guru. Give me your picture. I'll give it to him. He'll decide. It was like he was beyond, He didn't know. He was this kid, this wild guy, and he hoped I was sincere. Anyway, Guru gets the thing. Because I kept inquiring, do we hear anything back? I sent in my letter. I wrote like 12 pages, single space, back and front, all my political views, everything spiritual I'd gone through, the whole thing. I felt like, let me know, because I didn't want him to say later, if I'd known that, I wouldn't have taken you. And I wanted him, I had this feeling that if Guru said I wasn't meant to be his disciple, I'd find my path. I had this thing about Guru that it would be a blessing. When I finally said I was going to do it, my mind was still objecting, but at least that it was a good step forward, and even if I wasn't meant to be, it would be solved. So I don't hear back. I'm on the phone. Hey, come on, you write 12 pages, you give it to somebody, you don't want to be a disciple, but at least you're trying, blah, blah. And you don't hear anything back. What is this? So I get a message that I can come to the April celebrations. And I didn't know what it was then, but that's what it was. It was a church in Connecticut, got a ride there. And again, there's a little break, and Guru's kind of relaxed. There's maybe a couple hundred people there. And people doing little plays, whatever. And Guru was walking around at the end, and a couple of times I was like, ooh, this is my chance. And, no, maybe not the chance. The letter's in, let's leave him alone, this is his day, So, and I was wearing semi-whites, like off-white pants and maybe a t-shirt, undershirt, or who knows what I was. But to me that was white, so I heard it would be good. And so then I hadn't heard. And then there was a Saturday night where he started to call people up that had become his disciples. And I was like, oh God, you're going to find out here in public, But I wasn't called up. And it was the beginning of the Manhattan Center. And I was going to both places. So I thought, and at first I was like, gee, I hope it didn't call me in public, Tell me no, or even yes, either way. It just didn't feel like what. But then when I didn't get called up, I was like, hey, what happened? How come I didn't get called up for one way or the other? So that's your mind going. So I saw Dulal later, the guy's head of the center, the administrative part, and he said, I just haven't heard back from Sri Chinmoy yet, And maybe that was the week before I got told the April thing. I don't know which the sequence was. So anyway, the next Tuesday night, I started going to both for sure. I got there, and Guru asked for questions. And now it's been a week and a half, 10 days, or almost 2 weeks, and I raised my hand, and he says, yes. And I said, what do you have to do if you want to be a disciple? And Guru answers me, well, usually I meditate on your picture, you write a little about the thing, and then I'll see. And if it's not, and he was a very sweet answer. But I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I did that. My mind is like tripping out, So another few people answered, but everybody's smiling at me, and oh, he might want to be a disciple. I look over at the head of the center over there, and he's like, looks at me and then looks right at Guru. He's not going to get me. I was like, didn't you give him the letter? That's what I was saying to him inwardly. But so then I weighed a few other questions. I raised my hand again. This time I'm steaming. Steam's coming out my ears. And I said, what if you've already done that? And the disciples, I could feel the arrows, all the people a few minutes before are thinking, well, this guy's about the disciples, think, oh, we got a bad one here, And Guru looks at me, eye to eye, we're going at it, And at the same time, I was starting to feel like, oh my God, what have I done now? Because the whole atmosphere in the room's changed, You got the attention you wanted, but kid, So at that point, Guru looks at me and he says, oh, so you've done that, And I was like, biting my tongue, I said, yes, so I wouldn't say anything else, And And he said, well, was it sort of like 2 letters? And I thought 2 letters. Well, it's the outer life and the inner life. I call it. Yeah, sort of, yeah. 12 pages back and front, you know. I guess you call that 2, you know. You know? So then it took a little more time again. And he said, so you want to be my disciple? And I was like, what are you playing with me? And my mind was like, what do you mean? I didn't want to be anybody's disciple. I've written 12 pages. And my mind's freaking out. And my heart's going, shut up. Just shut up. You made it this far. Just say yes. And so again it was, yes. But inwardly my mind was freaking out. I still couldn't believe I was doing this. And so then Guru smiled and he said, I wholeheartedly accept you. You know, and the room changed again. You know? And I was like, what was that about? You know, it was just I couldn't take it in, and then before I knew it, the meeting was over, and people coming, wow, Chris said that to you. He never says that. You know, wholeheartedly accepts you. And my mind was going, oh, come on, give me a break, you. You people are too much. You know, I mean, but my heart was just like I was sort of dazed. You know, and then.